I can tell you one of the toughest things that I deal with as a safety trainer is getting people engaged, getting people interested, getting people talking. And so in this video, if you're having a hard time getting your management engaged and getting your employees engaged with safety, in this video, I want to talk about 3 things you can do to get people engaged. Let's discuss. Hey, before we get started with the video, I wanted to take a quick time out and tell you how you can download a free OSHA audit checklist. Simply go to my website, Help with OSHA. You can click right there on the homepage and you can download a free OSHA audit checklist. This is the best way to prepare you and your team for an unexpected OSHA inspection. All right, so the very first thing you can do to get people engaged is make sure that you are doing the training or the meetings or the paperwork on a time schedule that's best for them. Really, it's something where you got to make sure people are going to be involved, people are going to be ready and prepared to do the training. Now, the other day I had a talk with a manager. It was a maintenance director, and he came into the office and we were talking about things, and I asked him, I said, hey, I want to do some training with your guys. Tell me, when would be a good time in the next couple weeks to do the training? And, you know, obviously you get some sarcasm sometimes, and every now and then people go, oh, well, there's never a good time, or we're always busy. But once you get through some of those kind of cliches that come back to you, people will usually give you a good time. And that's exactly what happened, because at first he was kind of like, oh, well, we don't have time to do this. And I said, well, just tell me when is the best time in the next 3 weeks? And by giving that timetable to him, he was able to sit there and think, you know, we're going to be tied up a lot this coming week. We should have a gap in the middle of next week. Maybe we could do it Wednesday afternoon. And I was like, boom, got it. We locked in, we wrote it on the schedule. I said, hey, this is written in pencil, but I'm going to follow up with you on Monday to make sure that we can still schedule that in for Wednesday. So having that back and forth, it did a few things for me. One, the ball's in his court to pick the time and the day, and then I'm more likely to get more people. I'm more likely to get people at different shifts. I'm more likely to get people at the best times when they're going to be paying attention. And probably the most important thing, not only am I going to get more people, I'm more likely to get the people that actually need the training that we're going to be doing. So that's one thing. So ask when is a good time to do training. The other thing you want to do is ask people about things that affect them. Now, this sounds like common sense, and it really is, but oftentimes you're thinking as a safety manager, you're thinking about all the people in your company. And honestly, if you're dealing with a manager in one department, he's thinking about his department. He's not thinking about everybody else. So when you're talking about chemicals or forklifts or different equipment, cranes or hoists or ladders or things that he doesn't deal with, he's in his brain, he's already kind of shut it off. He's like, well, doesn't apply to me. Doesn't apply to me. So one way to get people engaged is talk about things that matter to them, right? If I know that this guy doesn't have a lot of chemicals, he doesn't have a lot of forklifts, he doesn't have cranes and hoists, I'm not going to focus in on those. I'm going to focus in on stuff he does have. Like, hey, maybe he's got to deal with lockout, tagout. So we're going to talk specifically about some of the procedures. Hey, talk to me about the procedures in your area. Is everybody trained? So you're having that manager think about his people and what actually affects them. Now, the third thing you can do to get people more engaged is ask them questions, not just about the hazards, but about what's frustrating them. This is one of the best ways to grow a relationship with somebody. And I do this with maintenance all the time. And you can't feign interest. You can't pretend to not be interested or pretend to be interested in something you're not. So I got to encourage you, take a real interest in this. But if you go up to somebody and they look just stressed out of their mind and you go, hey man, what's going on this week? What's really frustrating you? People will just, they'll tell you. And that builds a relationship. Now, you don't want to be the person people dump on all the time, but if you're genuinely interested in what's going on, sometimes it's not even work related. Sometimes somebody goes, man, I've been going through all this mess in my personal life. It's really, really a struggle just to get in here on time in the mornings. You know, my wife is having trouble with her sister. She's going through a divorce, and we're having to, help her with counseling. And I'm going up there to help her move next week. And it's like, you realize every single person at your organization is a human being, and they have work problems and they have personal problems and they get stressed. So just a few tips for how to get people engaged. One, do it at times that work for them when possible. It's not always possible, but try to do it at times that work for them. Number two, focus on things that matter to their people and their department when you can. And number three, when somebody is going through a tough time, ask them how it's going. And don't ask them because you're trying to just move on to the next thing. Ask them because you want to be a person that they can actually connect with. So you're not always trying to fix a problem in that situation. Lots of times you're just trying to open a conversation and open a relationship, because if they feel like, hey, this guy cares about me, then I'm going to care about what he's doing. It goes back to that old cliche, and I'll probably butcher it here in the video, but you know the cliche where people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And as a safety manager, sometimes people see you as just the bad guy that's coming around. If they see you as somebody that's like, hey man, we're on the same team here. I'm trying to make sure that I get this training done so that your people go home at the end of the day. I want everybody to be safe. They want their people to go home at the end of the day too. So we're all on the same team. We have different jobs we have to do. And when you can connect with people, you're much more likely to get engagement. So just a quick summary. Talk to people, train people, have meetings when it is convenient for them when possible. Make sure that you talk about hazards and things that affect their department and their people. So you're talking about stuff they actually care about. And number three, talk to them as a human being so that they know that you care about what they're going through, and that way they'll care about what you're trying to do for them and for the company. So those are three tips I've learned over the years to get people engaged. It's not a magic trick. It really is just people connecting with people. Until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.